You're in the zone, the superhero zone. Cue intro. Hello, and welcome to Superheroes 101. My name's Xavier, and I'll be your host. And welcome to the 6th episode of my Loki Mischief and Mayhem series, the series where we talk all things Loki related all of the time. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about episode 5. But before we get into the video, make sure you follow me on my Instagram and TikTok for any cool superhero related content. But now, let's get right into the video. I forgot to say this before, but I'm going to be doing the top 5 most shocking things that happened in Loki episode 5. Starting off at number 5, we have the Void is nothing but a multiversal garbage dump. So yeah, in the finale of episode 4, we saw Loki wake up to a bunch of his other variants. Kid Loki, Bashful Loki, and Classic Loki, and Alligator Loki. So yeah, basically they explain that the Void is at the end of time, and that's where all pruned timelines and variants go. But there they have a guardian called Alioth that will come into play later on in this episode and this video that basically guards the Void and makes sure nobody escapes and nobody gets in or out. But notice how only the Loki variants are able to survive. There's a bunch of Loki variants, but a boat pops in later on in this episode and Alioth completely obliterates the people on the boat because it was full of people and it obliterated them. But with the Lokis survive. So yeah, basically Loki variants are the only ones that can survive in the Void, and that's interesting. Next up at number 4, we have Throg has entered the MCU. If you don't know who Throg is a frog version of Thor. Basically, this happened in a funny version of the comics, and I'm glad I put it in the MCU. But basically what happens is Loki turned Thor into a frog in the comics, and he met a bunch of other frogs. He fought a bunch of killer rats or something like that. And then a shard of Mjolnir fell off of his frog Mjolnir, and another frog came and grabbed it and became the mighty Throg and joined the Pet Avengers. And yeah, it shows Throg in a jar trying to get to Mjolnir so he could get out of there. But it was really smart how they showed this because you only notice it for a split second when the camera is panning down to the Loki hideout. And I thought that was really cool. Next up at number 3, we have Mobius is a little sus. Honestly, I think Mobius is a little sus because Mobius quickly jumped on the bandwagon of the Loki's plans without any questions asked. Honestly, Mobius is Loki's friend, but honestly, I feel like he's still working with Ramona Renslayer. He may turn good at the end, but right now I still think he's working with Renslayer because they had a close, almost romantic relationship, even though we know in the comics Ravonna is romantically involved with Kang, and it would be weird if it was with Mobius. But I kind of like Mobius and Ramona Renslayer. But yeah, I think Mobius is still working with Ravonna because Ravonna, revealed also in this episode, is trying to figure out what is going on with the Timekeepers because now that she knows that they're fake, because apparently she didn't know that they were fake, and she doesn't know who is really in control. But I secretly think she does know who's in control and that she's working with them. So yeah. Rolling up at number 2, we have Sylvie and Loki are stronger together. In this episode, like I said earlier on, Sylvie and Loki try to enchant the Alioth cloud creature. They successfully do it together, and then they kind of exerted a burst of energy and it destroyed Alioth and opened up the portal to a castle, which will be revealed in the next episode. But personally, I feel like this could be Doctor Doom's castle from the comics, or it honestly could be Kang's castle because all the signs have been pointing to Kang. And yeah, I feel like Loki and Sylvie are Nexus level beings when they are together. When they're separate and apart, they're not as strong, but when they're together, they can achieve anything, which kind of leads up to my next point. Now at number 1, the most shocking thing that happened, the biggest theory that I've had in this episode, thanks to Sylvie and Loki powering up when they were together, is the Infinity Stones are still going to be heavily involved in the MCU than we think. Now, think about it. The Infinity Stones in episode 1 of Loki were shown as useless because magic doesn't work in the TVA. And I said in my last video that I think the TVA had runes around it, that's why the Infinity Stones didn't work. I think the Infinity Stones are still going to be useful in the MCU, just not in the way that we think. In the MCU, the Infinity Stones are rocks of power that people like Thanos and Odin tried to go around and collect so that they can gain more power and ability. Now, the Infinity Stones were incinerated in the beginning of Endgame. Like, our Infinity Stones in the current timeline are nothing but dust now, because that's what Thanos turned them into. So, honestly, what I'm thinking the Infinity Stones are 6 Nexus level beings that will rise up and control the multiverse and keep it in check, like the Scarlet Witch. I think the Scarlet Witch is going to be in charge of it. Now, I think each Nexus level being is going to represent an Infinity Stone. Like, for instance, Scarlet Witch was created by the Mind Stone, but her powers are red like the Red Reality Stone, and she warps reality at will. While also having mind powers, I think that she represents the Reality Stone, and she's the head of the 6 Nexus level beings. Next up, we have Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange can astral project. His soul comes out of his body, and he can go through the multiverse and stop issues in his astral body that his physical body can't do or handle. And when he uses his powers, they're orange, and I think he represents the Soul Stone. Next, you have Agatha Harkness. She was a power-hungry witch. All she wanted was power. She went through time getting power with the help of the Darkhold. Her powers were purple, and honestly, her powers, I think, represent the Purple Power Stone. Then you have Sylvie and Loki. They're dealing with the Time Variance Authority. They're dealing with the Sacred Timeline being broken like it's supposed to. They're dealing with the multiverse and all this time stuff. And their powers are green. I think they're meant to represent the Mind Stone. Even though Doctor Strange wielded the Mind Stone, I think they're gonna represent the Mind Stone, the Time Stone together. Because, yeah. Also, shout out to you, Mom, for helping me come up with this theory. And honestly, I think the Mind Stone and the Space Stone are 2 magic holders that are going to come and claim their place in the 6 Infinity Stone round table of Nexus level beings. Honestly, the person who represents the Blue Space Stone could be America Chavez. America Chavez is going to be in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. America Chavez has the power to teleport between time and space. The Space Stone can also do that. And her powers are also kind of blue, so she could represent that. But that still leaves a sorcerer or sorceress to represent the Mind Stone. So leave down in the comments your thoughts about this theory, and tell me your theory down in the comments below, because I want to know. And yeah, guys, that was everything I had to talk about Loki Episode 5, Journey into Mystery. I am super excited for the finale, and I'm also kind of sad for the finale because Loki was a very good series. It started off weird, but now it's rounding off and ending in a very good direction, and I like where it's going. And it honestly made Loki/Sylvie 2 of my most favorite characters in the MCU, hence the reason why they're on my wall of favorite MCU characters. But yeah, thanks for sticking to the end of this video, and if you like this video at all, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications so that you get notified every time I post, go live, or premiere a video on this YouTube channel. Also, you can follow me on my Instagram and TikTok for any cool superhero-related updates and video suggestions that you guys give me that I could do. And yeah, my posting schedule is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Well, it's sometimes Wednesdays, but I've been posting a lot more on Wednesdays, so I'm just going to count Wednesdays now. And yeah, if you want more content from me, you're going to have to wait till my very next video. Bye, you guys.